This is the Holland Stone Store Museum Opendore building, August 21st, 2021, for our Centennial +1 celebration of the 19th Amendment passage, and also the dedication of Opendore. This portion is the West Wing, which was built entirely by volunteers. This is the 1910 wing, which was added on by Isabel Holland when she owned the house. And the front entry and handicapped accessible ramp, built by volunteers. And the foundations, which are a reminiscent of the south wing that existed at one time, that have been beautifully planted by the garden club and various volunteers. As we come up the ramp to enter the building, we come into the main entry hall.
Because I was supposed to play tomorrow, but I was able to come today, which is a better day.
The mantle, which was restored. This is the Holland Rick foyer with plaques honoring our supporters and also our volunteers. Then the Holland Crumrine White drawing room, which was the beautiful hall, reception hall, which now has a very nice exhibit of Emily Holland's life and various activities and interests. The fireplace, only missing the original historic mantle, which we still hope to recreate.
Oh, yes. Good, good.
And a beautiful portrait of Emily Holland. Hi. As we come into the Holland Letchworth Parlor, which has been restored to match its original condition. The beautiful oak trim and leaded windows, which were carefully restored. And again, another fireplace with only the mantle remaining to be added in the future. We then proceed back to go into the meeting room.
Yeah. And then, oh my God, the meeting, like, so I saw, like,
This is the O'Hara meeting room, which has a beautiful display on the history of the Opendore property and building. The 10,000 represents the volunteer hours, which are now closer to 11,000 since 2016. And then a nice display on the Opendore building and its resurrection. A small kitchenette with hand-built cherry cupboards And lastly, on the first floor, we have two handicapped accessible restrooms and a small janitor's closet. And this is the entry to the handicapped accessible lift to the second floor. As we go around to go upstairs, we have a nice wall mural with the image of the west elevation of Opendore. Then we enter into the Builders Gallery, dedicated to the volunteers who spent so many hours reconstructing this building. And this room is a display of the Cuba County Political Equity Club from the early 20th century that were working for the passage of the 19th Amendment, and various posters, which are some of the prize collection of the museum, which were actually preserved after the 19th Amendment was passed. Then we enter the north wing, the 1910 wing, a small corridor. In this direction is the Gutchess Library, given by Elsie Gutchess in honor of the great women of America.
Hello.
Hi. Very nicely outfitted with her collection.
Yep. Looks good.
And another fireplace with a mantle that we still need to construct. And as we go back to the west, we have the workroom, which is intended to be a space for volunteers to work on projects regarding the collection or educational displays. And the last small fireplace, again with a mantle that we need to reconstruct. And a nice video running of a lot of photographs of the reconstruction of Opendore. And then we have two small offices for use by our volunteers, storage of materials. And this room is an office used by our historian for maintaining records in our archives.
No, it's in one of these rooms here.
Where's your computer set up with that in here?
Yep.
Oh yeah, okay.
This is the geothermal heat pump. The house is heated entirely by geothermal for both heating and cooling from 4 wells that were drilled out back. And lastly, we have a small docent's room. Currently has various materials for our celebration. And last, we have the Mitchell Archive Room, which is a environmentally controlled space for our various archives, including posters, many of which are currently on display, materials that are going to be coming from the Stone Store, flat files,
how much more do we still have to bring down from there?
And this area for our 2-day event is our registration table and museum gift shop. And then back to the rear, to the east. Is, of course, a temporary tent where we're going to have various activities and programs. The old stairway to what used to be the east porch here, which we hope to reconstruct someday. And even back in this area where the tents are, there was a porte cochere, which we hope to reconstruct. So that's Opendore as it exists in August 2021.